I have got a very good boss in the Murray Council who said to me many years ago when I started, everyone makes mistakes, but what I want you to do is to admit them. And that's scary at first, but liberating ultimately, because you don't sit and stuff and suffer alone, if you like. It lets you share stuff. And almost always, when I have admitted a mistake or admitted that I don't understand something in the legal profession, the other side that I'm dealing with says, well, actually, I feel the same. So I'm dealing with a transaction with another solicitor who I think is far superior, far more qualified, far more intelligent than me, understands this particular piece of law so much better, and I'm not getting it. And sometimes I just lift the phone and say, I don't really get this. And they say the same, well, it is tricky, I'm not so sure myself. And that, I think, the ability to do that, to admit your weakness, becomes a strength.
In relation to factors which affect barristers, I'm a civil practitioner, and that's probably what I'm best placed to speak about, although I think it applies to all areas of the bar. First of all, in terms of individual characteristics, many barristers are perfectionists. We are high-achieving individuals. We are people who are used to doing well. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves in terms of our performance. Now, as a self-employed barrister, many people say, oh, the old expression is, you're only as good as your last case. So if something hasn't gone terribly well, it's very easy to blame yourself for that. Now, things don't go well for all sorts of reasons. If you're a litigator, litigation is notoriously uncertain. Witnesses don't come up to scratch. A document is disclosed you're not expecting. All sorts of different things can happen. And actually, it's unlikely to be your fault, but it's very easy to take the blame and think it's you. So that's one issue. And it's very important to be able to see the bigger picture and be able to move on from that. Obviously, one's continually learning in terms of performance. We learn throughout our lives, but just because something hasn't gone well doesn't mean that's your fault. So perfectionism and looking to do well all the time, I think, creates a really big problem. And secondly, there is the demands of modern working life. So continual emails, requests from solicitors or clients in relation to aspects of a case. And I think it's the inability sometimes to be able to say, actually, I'm out of the office after 7 o'clock at night, or out of the office after 5 o'clock at night, and not to put your phone on one side and let that distract you, because as we all know, if you read an email at 10 o'clock at night with something you don't want to see in it, you just don't sleep very well. So that really does have an impact, and being able to create your own boundaries is a really important way of being able to deal with that. But I think that's another factor which puts pressure on people, and it makes, unless you know how to deal with it or have a coping mechanism for dealing with it, that will affect your well-being.
I think finding people who you can talk to honestly and having someone more senior who you have a relationship with, so you can call them. I mean, it's something you need to do all the time when you're junior. But then even as you kind of become more senior, it's always useful to have someone to talk things through with, an ethical issue. If you think you've made a mistake, or if you think that there's something that you could have done better, being able to talk it through with someone, that's incredibly valuable.